Divine Bliss International is honored to present Sarva Loka Maa, Her Holiness, Sri 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 1008 Guruji Poonamji, lovingly revered as Sarva Loka Maa. We are eternally grateful to have a true Guru physically here to guide us to open the light within ourselves. Sarva Loka Maa's lineage begins with His Holiness Sri 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 1008 Baba Neem Karoliji Maharaj, widely known as the great healing saint of Northern India. He bestowed his energetic mantle to his successor, His Holiness Sri 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 1008 Baba Sevanandaji Maharaj. For 35 years, His Holiness Baba Sevanandaji Maharaj was the head of the light energies on this earth. He lovingly bestowed his energetic mantle to Sarva Loka Maa, Her Holiness Guruji Poonamji, making her the next head of the light energies as he journeyed on from this earth. In this video, Sarva Loka Maa narrates an experience she had with her Guru Baba Sevanandaji Maharaj and the energetic presence of her Param Guru Baba Neem Karoliji Maharaj. Om Guruji.
Om.
Your Holiness, would you grace us with a memorable experience of your Param Guru, Baba Neem Karoliji Maharaj?
There is so much to tell about him. Where to begin? He was a complete evolved saint that passed through this earth realm and was here till 1973. I've had many interactions with Babaji, even though he was not in his physical body. By the time I was searching for my Guru, Babaji has immense stories. The one story that really moved my heart was that one day I go to visit Babaji, there's a confusion, so might be I'll say Baba Sevanandaji, my Guru, and I find him all wrapped up in a blanket, wearing a beanie, wearing socks. He looks at me and says he needs the woolen socks. So I say right away, I go back to the shops, I get a pair of woolen socks, I come back, I put woolen socks on him, he's still sniffling, and it's not like Babaji to get sick ever. So I'm like, Babaji, whose cold are you taking on? He says, shush. I said, okay, I'm not ready to tell yet. So the whole day goes by, I'm making, herbal tea for him. I am making food for him of his choice, taking care of him like a little kid with the flu. It's like, okay, Babaji, give it up, whoever's it is. Let's release it, let's get over with it. Babaji says, yes. By the time it's about 5 o'clock, a young couple come in, those who have been, you can say, married for about 6 months or so, kind of pair, and they come to Babaji and they bow and they say, yes, how is life? Yes, we're continuing, we're doing well, we're developing, everything is going fine, adjustment is going fine with the family. They've had their tea, they've had their snacks, everything done, and then Babaji tells them that you had to bring a blanket. When you got married, you said you will be bringing a blanket. It still hasn't arrived. The fellow looks at Babaji. Oh, Babaji, I completely forgot. Yes, of course, tomorrow. It'll be here tomorrow. So Babaji says, okay, bring the blanket tomorrow. They go away. He's supposed to come back the next day with the blanket, the promised blanket. Next day, Babaji still has flu. Blanket still hasn't come. We waited the whole day. The couple didn't come. None of them came. And Babaji, can we please get rid of the flu? He says, yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Whole day gone by, nobody came. Came 8 o'clock, Babaji's bedtime, Babaji went to sleep, still has the cold and the flu and the cough, and said, Babaji, this is too much. What can we do to release you from the cold? Come day 3, means like of his cold, and Babaji, I seriously got to do something. This is not working. You can't remain sick like this. It's not for you to carry on this cold and this flu. So by about 12 o'clock, Babaji relents. He says, go downstairs and, talk to Maharajji down there, Baba Neem Karoli, and ask him how he's doing. So Babaji had done lots of meditation, and he had an underground cave dug for him where he did lots of meditation because he released the people of the area from snake bites. So he went underground and spoke to the snakes and did meditation for a good 6 months. He didn't come out of his cave. So in that cave, when he came out, he established the statue of Baba Neem Karoli there, which was his personal statue. So I went in there. People could only go into that cave with Babaji's permission. Nobody was allowed to go in there otherwise. So I go out there, doing pranams to Baba Neem Karoli, saying, and what can I do? What's happening? Oh man, I heard sneezes echoing in the little place. I said, okay, so you are the one with the flu. So what's happening? What can I do? So I was, I think, wearing a shawl. I said, can I give you my shawl? He said, I'll have your shawl now, give it. So I gave him my shawl. He says, but it's not going to help. I said, why? Where is that boy? He needs to bring my blanket now. People, they promise everything, they don't deliver. I said, yes, Babaji. Now I know why Babaji is having a cold. So I go outside. We wait the whole day. The boy still doesn't come. Now I'm perplexed. I say, Babaji, tomorrow, the minute the shops open, in India, shops open by 10 o'clock, I'm getting that blanket. And if he doesn't show up, you can't stay sick. And I hear sneezes downstairs, so it's not working. So Babaji says, yes, tomorrow, if he doesn't show up, we get the blanket. Okay, Babaji? But we wait. So now Babaji's compassion is not allowing him to take away the credit from this boy. I tell you, he must have worked very hard because from 12 o'clock his fever was soaring. And to the extent that he said, okay, you put some cold bandages on my forehead. My head is burning up. I said, yes, Babaji, I'm doing his cold wraps on his heads and everything, and it's like, okay, I'm quite done. I know what the solution is. We have to get a blanket. So do I have your permission to go buy the blanket now? I just go, I'll be back in an hour with the blanket, and we're done. I said, he already took my shawl, but where the things are not, you haven't recovered, which Babaji told me. Yes, you can give me your shawl, give it now, but it's not going to help. If it's not going to help, what's the deal? What do we do now? So I do all the cold bandages. At 4 o'clock, I say, Babaji, in another 2 hours, it's going to be dark. Like from the ashram to get to the shops was a 45-minute drive. I said, I need at least the hour and a half. So, give me about 45 minutes to get to the shops and to find a shop that will sell pure wool blankets, to bring one back. I need to go now. So Babaji says, okay, you make a coffee for me, you drink coffee, then you go. So it's like, okay, that's the last of the very last. Today is the third day, and for 4 days Babaji has been suffering the flu, and he hasn't, he's held on for this boy to give him the credit. And Baba Neem Karoli is suffering because he's the one who's asking for the blanket. I can almost see him pantsing, get me my blanket. Right? And says, look, it is snowing now. And literally in New Delhi, where temperatures, usually don't go down so drastically, we go down to like 1 and 2 sometimes for a few days, not very much, suddenly dropped like we were in snow. So everybody who's coming is like shivering. It is not that cold actually, temperature is still 8 degrees. Why is everybody shivering? Yeah, but everybody who entered the space was shivering. Means like Babaji's kutia was becoming like an icicle, yet the temperature was not so cold outside. Said, this is really, the freezing point is increasing. If this boy doesn't come, we are stuck. And Babaji has taken on so much of pain and suffering on himself for this boy, and he doesn't even know. He said, coming back tomorrow. Come on, how can you say tomorrow and not be back for 2 days? Today is the 3rd day. And then I am on my way. If coffee is made, coffee is drunk. I said, now, Babaji, you just have to go. Babaji says, yes, now you have to go. So I am collecting my keys and my purse to go to the shops to collect the thing. And as I am about to step out of the door, I see him and his wife walking down the pathway. And I said, oh, finally. And it's like they show up in front of Babaji, and all that Babaji's, they are doing all their pranams, this and that. Babaji says, blanket, blanket, blanket. So it's like, they are, yes, Babaji, we brought the blanket. So they bring this big fleecy blanket, a soft, fluffy one, means like it's not pure wool, but it is those pretty ones that have all the flowers and designs and stuff made on it. Babaji looks at me, says, Poonam, get the blanket to Babaji now. And I look at the boy, you want to come with me? I mean, say it's like that. You want to come with me? You better move now. I'm carrying the blanket on the double. I get downstairs to Babaji's statue, Baba Neem Karoli statue, and I put the blanket around him. I tell the boy, you pray. And I said, you are 3 days late. And I'm still being held back. I want to give him a knock on his head, what do you think you were doing? 3 days it took you to get a blanket. And I put the blanket on and I hear an energetic sigh from Baba Neem Karoli. That's so nice. And I wrap him up completely in the blanket. Now, obviously, I look at the difference. This is a big, like a really big double bed blanket that he has brought, because he had no clue whether he was buying it for Babaji, whether he was buying it for Baba Neem Karoli's statue, whatever he was doing. So Baba Neem Karoli is like doubly, triply wrapped in this huge, humongous blanket. And he says, wow. And I look at the difference. I just had a stole. So the last thing given to him was a tiny little thin stole made out of very fancy little wool. This was huge, big. like you were hugging a bear. And I come upstairs, and the minute Babaji sees my face, his beanie is coming off already, and he says, "Coffee." I said, "Oh, Babaji," coming up right away. And I rush to the kitchen, I make his coffee, I bring it out. He says, "For them." I said, "Yeah, but I'm bringing it. That'll take a bit time because that's more cups, For Babaji, making one cup very easy." So Babaji says, "Yes." Babaji starts drinking his coffee. The time I go back to the kitchen, I get coffee for the others. And by the time I come back, Babaji has removed his muffler, removed his beanie. The room is becoming warm. Babaji's nose is not running anymore. By the time the husband and wife left, Babaji was completely out of his flu symptoms and back to normal. I said, "Babaji, 4 days of suffering. Can I beat him up, please?" And Babaji says, "They are newly married, they forget, let them be, forgive them, their mistakes." But that was one big miracle there. Baba Neem Karoli was feeling cold and Baba Sevananda had the flu. And it lasted for 4 days. And it manifested just like that, and it disappeared just like that. Now he had it, and now he didn't. And it was gone. So that was one great miracle. And the fact that in my journey of being with Babaji, I've been talking to people and hearing things, but the satisfaction of putting a blanket on a statue, which the conscious mind would say for the people, "What is this? I'm only putting a blanket on a statue, and that too a marble statue." And yet the relief and the love that came pouring out just at that minute of feeling him stretch out and say, "Thank you." The snow was so cold, and giving him the blanket, the snow disappeared, the temperature in the ashram became normal. Babaji came out of all his beanies and his, 4 sweaters and whatever else he had wrapped himself up in, and it was still not helping. He still had the cold and he still had the flu. Just giving of one blanket, everything cleared. Everything gone. That I treasure as one beautiful story. Of course, I have plenty. That's why I said, "What do you want to know? Whose story do you want to know?" Knowing Baba Neem Karoli is, what shall I say? I met him energetically even before I met my Guru. He's the one who took me to Baba Sevananda. So I have heaps and heaps of stories where he would energetically make his presence known. Physically, I have seen him once, but energetically, I felt his presence hundreds of times. And of course, such like stories, we have had plenty of interactions with him. I've been with my Guru for 20 plus years, and in those years, there has been lots of fun.
Om Guruji, we bow in humbleness and gratitude for this beautiful serenade of oneness between yourself, your Guru, and your Param Guru. We are very grateful for this blessing. Om.
Om.
For everyone watching this video, we invite you to share your experience of Sarva Loka Maa in the comment section below. Subscribe to this channel to receive more divine wisdom from Sarva Loka Maa, released by Divine Bliss International. Om.